All right.
Hey, John.
I think that'll work. Hey, Eric. How are you tonight?
That's working. I'm stationary. How are you?
I am not stationary. I am on my first and so far probably last cruise. um, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something of an acquired taste, I think.
Yeah. No, no, there will not be too many details, but boy, I have been very sick these last. I think we've been on the boat for 3 days and I've spent two and a half of them in bed in misery.
Is it
So,
like motion sickness or?
I thought so, but honestly, I think it's food poisoning. That's what I
Ugh.
think. So,
Okay.
yeah, today was our first excursion. We had 2 days at sea,
Right.
and the first night was pretty rough, which I thought the first night I was getting a little seasick, but anyway.
Huh. Okay.
But we were at Roatan today in Honduras, and then tomorrow we're on our way to Belize, and I'm really excited. Tomorrow's the first like real excursion for going to some Mayan ruins. So
Oh,
I'm
cool.
meeting my brother at 6:15 down on deck 7, and I think there's a water taxi involved and a 2-hour drive to see something cool. So my fingers are crossed.
I look forward to
Although
the pictures.
I missed all the talks about what it is that we will be seeing, so I will. It's okay. Surprises are also welcome, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, so yeah, I am definitely not recovered, but I'm better than I was yesterday. When you texted me
Oh, that's
yesterday, I
good.
was just like, I'm half dying. So
I don't mean to laugh at that, but I have been on a boat, and I don't think I ever got seasick necessarily because I couldn't tell that the boat was actually airship was actually in motion unless I looked out the window or looked over the side and could see the horizon and the waves and stuff.
mm,
Otherwise, it just was. I mean, they're so huge, these cruise ships. It's
they are.
anyways.
It's gigantic. It's
But yeah,
gigantic.
I'm with you.
It's kind of cool.
I have done technically I've done two, and I have really no desire to do another one. They were both Disney cruises, so it was with little kids, and they had a blast. So, but now
I
they're
could see this being
older.
amazing with kids for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But we'll see. Never say never. But
yeah.
yeah, oh for 3 for the days so far. But it's
All
okay.
right.
I'm with family. I'm very very happy to see
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Although it
That's
was
the
my
fun
first
part.
dinner with them tonight, literally.
Hmm.
But hey, anyway, we'll see.
All
Maybe
right.
I'll report next week. Maybe will have been wonderful.
I hope it ends well for you.
Uh,
Speaking of kids, it's all the kids are coming home from college this week, and
it's exciting.
I haven't been on a ship, but I have also been a little bit under the weather, not feeling awesome. I'll feel good one day and then just horrible the next day and then good the next day. So I just can't quite get over it. I am now on day two consecutive of feeling okay. So I'm hoping I'm over it.
Okay.
And with all that downtime, I'm still only 44% the way through Wind and Truth.
Wow.
So
Well, I haven't even started it. I was
mm,
unable to read
I will
yesterday
I will avoid the
or the day before.
spoilers.
Yes, still avoid for a bit.
I will avoid the spoilers. But it it's fun. All right. Well, let's. I don't want to keep you awake too late
Yeah,
because I know you're
yeah.
on the other
Sorry for
side
it'll
of
be a little
the
abrupt.
planet.
So what'd you do for a topic this week?
So this one, I don't know if you remember, Microsoft had a recall feature
Oh, I recall that.
that they pulled at the last minute. Now, what recall is? It was supposed to go live with Windows 11 and the AI PCs and the Copilot Plus PCs, and what it was it was a feature that basically kept taking screenshots of your screen every time they changed
Hmm.
so that you could then recall information that was on your screen at any point in time because it would do analysis of the image, so that you could say, hey, when was I looking at a frog, and it would pull back through recall and find frogs, or hey, when was I reading the web page about blah? And it would go through and find the image of the web page you're reading when you're reading about frogs or whatever it may be. So Recall got pulled
Mm-hmm.
back in June. Apparently, Recall is now coming back. And I read an article in Tom's Hardware. The author is testing out this new version because the old version had potential issues with privacy. And this one now has a filter sensitive information setting. And so the idea is so that you don't, store screenshots of you typing your credit card number in or personal information into websites and have it be able to download those, upload those, have those available anywhere, anything you're doing on the
Right.
computer. Anyways, so this author went through and just wanted to test out, hey, how well does a filter work? And apparently in some of the tests, the filter only worked some of the time. So, for example, if you just enter your credit card number and a random username or password into, Notepad on Windows, Recall doesn't recognize it. I'm like,
Sure.
okay. All right. So, how does it know that you're typing a password versus just typing key smashing or something?
Right.
Or, the author tried to, give it hints like Capital One Visa card next to the numbers, and it still stored it. And then, filling out a loan application in Microsoft Edge and entering a social security number, name, date of birth, Recall captured all those pieces of information. The author tested it with dummy numbers and then tried real numbers just in case it was smart enough to know that's not really
It's
a
not
number.
that smart.
It's not that smart. And then they also created like a web page that said, like a custom generated HTML page with a form that said, enter your credit card number here. And it caught the credit card number, CVC, the expiration date, all
Sure.
that. Even that didn't trigger Recall to block it. However, so these were kind of the, I don't want to call them made up tests, but the let's see how good
The
it is
QA
tests.
tests.
Yeah, the QA tests. But he said, on the bright side, when I went to a couple online stores in Edge, Pi Morone and Adafruit, it captured the screens either before or after the credit card entry or a blank form. So it in the real world e-commerce sites, Recall got it right. But the kicker point here was that, hey, it's pretty much impossible for Microsoft's AI to filter every situation where sensitive information might be on the screen. So even though they were kind of QA tests, they're probably not fringe cases. People put sensitive information into PDF forms and
Right.
sites that don't look like shopping sites. So anyways, Microsoft's recall feature apparently is making a comeback, and there still might be things you might want to not make you not want to enable that feature.
Interesting.
So that's what I got for this week.
It said that they, quote, enabled encryption on the images it captures, but
Yeah.
those are decryptable offline.
Yeah.
What's the benefit? I mean, maybe they've got some. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, having done a lot of the looking at things like, secure vault, etc. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There's more coming of this.
Watch out for Microsoft recall.
Yeah.
That's one way to say it.
The topic I'm going to talk about, JR posted in the Slack. It's a Google Project Zero blog post that is way deep, but I think that we've talked a little bit about the things here a couple times, but the things that kind of really resonate with me about this is it's often not bugs in your code, but bugs in ancillary code on the platform. So in this case, it's drivers. A Qualcomm driver is responsible for this particular thing, and it's the lowest common denominator, right? Whoever's the slowest to kind of patch and improve the system security. So This is a crazy detailed article, so I won't go into all the nitty gritty. Not that I even understood part of it, but it started though with a call out to um, Amnesty International, who and a link to their article detailing it. So because it says that in February, and this is from the Amnesty article, though I'm not actually linking this. I'll link the Google Project Zero one, but it said in February 24, an independent journalist from in Serbia who covers local interest news stories was brought into a police station after a seemingly routine traffic stop. After he was released, he noticed his phone, which he had left at the police station reception at the request of the officers, was acting strangely. The data and Wi-Fi settings were turned off. Aware this can be a sign of hacking and mindful of the surveillance threats facing journalists in Serbia, he contacted the Amnesty International Security Lab to request an analysis of his phone.
Dun
So
dun dun.
now that's the little bit of the intro to the Amnesty International, which is really the like giving the larger human story here, not just the
Right.
technical bug searching story for how to find
Right.
defects in driver code. But from the Google perspective, the this is also kind of wild. It says they received some kernel panic logs generated by an in the wild exploit. I can only imagine how hard it is to track something down just from having a panic log, or
Right.
three or six. It says those logs kicked off a bug hunt that led to the discovery of 6 vulnerabilities in one Qualcomm driver over the course of 2.5 months, including one issue that Tag reported as in the wild. This blog post covers the details of the original artifacts, each of the bugs discovered, and the hypothesized in the wild exploit strategy gleaned from the logs. So, the expectation from the link to the Amnesty International is that this is one of the defects used by, some of the privacy vendors that are, sell tracking capabilities to governments and pay a lot of money for the bug bounties to not disclose them to the vendors. Anyway, the let's see. It says this. I love this thing. Accurately determining what vulnerability an exploit uses, working off only crash logs and without the exploit itself, can range in difficulty from highly plausible to impossible. I decided to give it a try and see what I could learn. Anyway, it goes on, and they go on, and the essentially they had to give up at just analyzing the panics, and went to the source code of the driver. And they, one researcher, Jan was their name, found a first bug, and then over the course of the next several months, the author found 5 more. And the let me pull this back up here. Hold on a second. It was in a driver that is digital signal processor driver. So,
Okay.
basically low level chipset driver that, hands
Right.
off to a DSP device for handling processing, of data. So the in the code review, it says it took less than 3 months of research to discover the 6 separate bugs in the ADS PRPC driver, 2 of which, this is the killer thing, were not fixed by Qualcomm under the industry standard 90-day deadline.
Mm.
Furthermore, at the time of writing, CVE 2024-49848 remains unfixed 145 days after it was reported.
Mm.
Past research has shown that chipset drivers for Android are a promising target for attackers, and this in the wild exploit represents a meaningful, real world example of the negative ramifications that the current third party vendor driver security posture poses to end users. I wonder how long
Yep.
Google will let that continue to stand. I mean, they don't really have control over it in the larger Android ecosystem, but
No, but I imagine if they can figure out a way to mitigate it with software, They will.
A system's cybersecurity is only as strong as its weakest link, and chipset slash GPU drivers represent one of the weakest links for privilege separation on Android in 2024. That's the money sentence.
There's your answer to privilege separation. Next version of Android that Google works on is going to separate the chipset and GPU drivers from the rest of the operating system.
Yeah, I don't know. Like what we see is strong control up and down the stack. What Apple's. I think it's interesting maybe tying your topic back to what Apple has done with Apple Intelligence. Apple has devoted an enormous amount of resources, research and development, and infrastructure into trying to build a vertical stack that is privacy preserving.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how much does that play out as a necessary prereq over the next a decade. I really think they're setting the tone for the next decade. So that'll be an interesting thing to kind of watch and experience.
All right. Well, something fun?
I could really use something fun. Hit me up.
Well, mine's a YouTube video, so right up your alley.
Oh, all right. I could probably watch that.
So, my wife and I and some friends went and got comedy tickets for November of 2025.
Wow, that's a long time from now.
Almost a year away, but the comic is Nate Bargatze.
I don't know him at all.
He's kind of now he made it to host Saturday Night Live now, I think twice. So he's kind of up and coming, but he is just his tagline is kind of the nicest guy in comedy.
Okay.
Because he just kind of talks about he makes fun of himself quite a bit, and I do enjoy kind of the David Letterman self-deprecating humor style of folks. So, anyways, we bought tickets, and I'm like, well, there's my something fun. I went and found a link from Netflix on YouTube for 14 minutes of some of his clips from his 3 different Netflix comedies. But he's, his Saturday Night Live sketches are hilarious. He's just fun. So
okay.
There's my something fun. If you haven't heard of Nate Bargatze, go Google Nate Bargatze, watch some YouTube videos, and you will be entertained. Saturday Night Live clips, you will be entertained.
All right.
So,
all right.
There you go.
Okay. So after I hang up with you, curl up in bed and watch
watch some comedy. There you go.
All right. It's a plan. Okay. I thought that I might have mentioned my something fun a week or two ago, but clearly I didn't. Or at least when I went to our RSS feed and searched for salmon, I didn't see salmon anywhere. Had you seen on the news in the last couple of weeks about the orcas up in Friday Harbor,
Seattle area,
wearing salmon on their heads?
No.
There you go. So
I read the title of your thing. I'm like, what? What is going on? Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, this is a what the heck? So here's the start of it though. The year was 1987. Beverly Hills Cop 2 and the Bengals Walk Like an Egyptian were at the top of the charts. And up in Washington State's Puget Sound, orcas were swimming around with dead salmon draped across their foreheads. It seemed to kind of pass along to multiple different members of the population, said Deborah Giles, a longtime biologist at the University of Washington's Friday Harbor Laboratories. While the behavior started with a female in K-pod, within a few months, the so-called salmon hat craze spread to both J-pod and L-pod, eventually becoming prominent in all 3 pods that make up the population segment, or clan, known as the Southern Resident Orcas. This clan of 71 individuals exclusively eat salmon. But then all at once, the headwear fad faded until October 25th, 2024, when photographer Jim Pasola captured an orca known as J27 Blackberry with a shiny silver fish laid across its dome. How crazy is this? Okay, at 32, Blackberry is too young to have seen the original salmon hat craze, but it's possible the male learned the behavior from some other members of the J-pod, some of which were alive in 1987. It's all speculation. We don't know. So why are they doing that? We have no idea. Like, could be yeah. Who like there's some guesses in here, but it's also that one of them's like it's a stretch to say it was the fad is back with just a single photo as well. And also it's possible that they've been doing this since long before the 80s. It's just that we only noticed it in the 80s. And the speculation that I mean I'm not a what's a person that studies orcas or orcologist. I'm not a I'm not a one of the speculations in here is that well maybe that's just that they're behaving this way because they're well fed and they have more time to play.
This has Douglas Adam vibes written all
Right?
over it. It
Totally.
cracks me up.
I did not think about that, but you're 100% correct. You could not and have never been more correct. But so
I will take it. I'll take
yeah,
it.
so there you go. The salmon hat craze among the Puget Sound
Uh,
orcas. So how do you top that? Um, like if that I mean it's an onion story, but in real life.
Orcas always have they like play with their food. I've
Yeah.
seen lots of videos on them playing with their food. So,
Yes.
anyways,
They're very
fun
smart.
stuff, John.
Very smart.
And I suppose somewhat apropos as you're in the middle of an ocean.
I am. I am.
But all right,
All right. All right, my friend.
have a good night. Hope you're feeling better.
I don't think I'll talk to you before Christmas. So yeah, Merry Christmas, and
Yeah.
I will talk to you next week.
All righty. See you, John.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Eric.